Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python programming language. So far we have discussed the basic elements of Python programming language. Like we have discussed the literals, the identifiers, the rules for identifiers, the variables and different data types. Then we saw what are the input function and output function to take input from the user and to print the result in the output screen. So in today's class, whatever the basic elements we have learned in our previous video lectures, we are just going to implement those literals or those basic elements through the Python IDLE, that is Python's integrated development and learning environment. So if you people are not familiar with those basic elements, then you just go through our previous video lectures, then you will clearly understand what are the basic elements those are present in Python programming language. Then after getting the basic knowledge, then you can go for the practical stuff. So this is our Python's IDLE, that is Python's integrated development and learning environment, and here the Python version is 3.8.3. You can see here this is Python 3.8.3 cell. It's act as a command prompt. So let us start by printing a hi message to all. So to print a hi message, I can write print function and within the parenthesis I can write hi, which is enclosed with a double quote. Then press enter. See, it's print hi. Like when we discussed on literals, we have discussed that there are many type of literals like integer, your float, your complex, a single character and string. So let us see how we can assign different types of literals into variables, and then we will print those variables to see the value. Suppose I want to assign an integer variable, that is 15, to a, then I can write a equals to 15 and press enter. Here there is no error, that means the statement is valid and interpreter can interpret this line. So in this line, the interpreter will allocate a memory to the variable a. That memory allocation is completely depend on the literals that is going to store in a. So 15 is an integer value, then a will be automatically an integer variable. So that's why 2 byte of memory will allocate to the variable a. So let's see, we can see a's value, that is 15. We can print 15 in our output screen by using simply a. I can write here a, then enter. You can see 15 is the output. Or I can write print, then within the parenthesis I have to write a. So that will print 15. If I will write print and within the parenthesis a is enclosed with a single quote, then what will be the output? The output is a, because here a is enclosed within a single quote. So that's why the interpreter treats it as a character. So the output is a. But when I print a, that means here the interpreter knows that a is a variable. So that's why the value of the variable should be printed. So here this is 15. So like that, if I want to, suppose I want to see what type of variable is a, because in case of C, when we want to use a integer variable, then we should first declare that variable as int type. But here the explicit declaration is not needed. So how can we see that which type of variable we are using? So there is a predefined function, that is type. Okay. So type a, then it will show me the type of variable a. See, here the class is int. That means a is of integer type. How we decide a is of integer type? Because of we are assigning a integer literal to the variable a. That's why a is automatically converted into integer variable. Like that, suppose b equals to 14.5. So here 14.5 is a floating point literal. So b will automatically a floating point variable. See, if I write b here, then the output is 14.5. Like that, I can see the type of B by writing type B. See here, the type of B is float. Like if I write C equals to, here inside the double quote I am writing Python. Okay, so C is of string type. So what will be the C? C is Python. Then what is the type of C? Okay, so here that C is of string type. Okay, like that we can assign a complex variable also. Suppose D equals to 3.45j. Okay, so 3.45j is a complex value. Then D will be automatically a complex variable. Then what is the D? D is 3.45j. Then type of D is C. The type of D is complex here. So this is all about how we can assign different types of literals into a variables. Okay. Next, in case of Python, we also have a Boolean type of literals. Like I can write x equals to true. Sorry. Okay. So what will be the value of x? That is true. Here true is not a string type because true is not enclosed within a single quote or double quote. So true is a Boolean type of. Now, like if I write I equals to false, then y value is what? Y is false. Then type of y is what? See, the class is Boolean type. So we are basically having three type of literals. One is number, and the second one is your string, and third one is your Boolean type. So here we have discussed how we can assign a different types of literals into variables without declaring them. So there is no need of explicit declaration of a variable. Okay. So let us remind what is an identifier. Identifier means we are identifying some elements like variables. We are naming them. For the simplicity, we are giving some name to variables or class or object or function or string, whatever it may be. So there are some naming convention for identifiers. Like the variable should be start with the underscore or a letter, but the variable cannot start with the digit. So let us see actually what are those naming conventions. So if you have a paper 1, then can I write one paper? Suppose I obtain in my first paper O grade. Okay, so can I write one paper equals to grade O? No. So there is an error. I cannot write one paper equals to O. I can write paper 1 equals to the grade is O. See, okay. So if I want to print the value of paper 1, I can see here the value is O. Like that, I can start a variable name with a underscore. So let's see how it works. Underscore x equals to 10 suppose. See, there is no error. That means it's a valid statement. If I want to print the value of underscore x, then I can write print underscore x. So the what is the value? That is 10. See, the output is also 10. Okay. So next, I cannot use any type of special symbol like suppose dot symbol. Can I write x dot 1 equals to 15? Can I write? No, I cannot write because that is a syntax error which says that it's an invalid syntax. But I can write x1 equals to 15. Okay, like that the identifiers are case sensitive. Like suppose I'm writing small x equals to 17. Okay, and a capital X equals to 14. So both are different because the identifiers or the variables are case sensitive. If I write print and inside the print function, here I am using the caps X. then what will be the result? The result must be 14. See, the result is 14. If I want to print the small x, then simply I can write x. See, the x is 17. So both the small x and caps x both are different. So these are the what case sensitive values. Next, we can assign multiple values to the multiple variables in a single line. Like suppose if a equals to 10, a equals to 10, b equals to 14.6, then c equals to suppose s. So these are three different values. So for assigning these three different values to three different variables, here I am using three different lines. Okay, but I can use a single line to assign multiple values to multiple variables also. How? See, a equals to 10, you can use semicolon, b equals to your 14.6 and use a semicolon, then c equals to your s. Okay, see, there is no error. If I print your a comma b comma c, see, 10, 14.6 and s. There is other way by to separate all the values with commas and all the variables also with commas. Like we can write a comma b comma c equals to, what is the first value? That is 10. So I have to mention first. Then second value is what? 14.6. Then third value is your s. Okay. So it will check the order. The first value is 10. The first variable is a. So 10 will assign to a. Second value is 14.6 and second variable is 6. So 14.6 will assign to b. Then third value is s, that is a single character, that will assign to the third variable, that is c. Let us see. Print a comma b comma c. Okay. See, 10, 14.6 and s. So we can assign multiple values to multiple variables with a single line. So this is the basic things. And now we can use our Python ideally as a calculator. See, how can we use a Python ideally as a calculator? See, so in a calculator, we have some basic arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Suppose I want to add two values, then I can simply write 4 plus 7 and it will show me 11. If I want to subtract, then I can write 90 minus 45, then it will show me 45. If I want to multiply, I can write 13 into, 13 into 4, then it will show me 52. Then what about the division? If I want to divide 20 divided by 3, remember, in case of C programming language, it will return me what? So 20 divided by 3, that will return me 6, because the fractional parts will be discarded. It is an integer division. 20 divided by 3 will only return me the quotient. The remainder part will be returned by a modulus operator. But that those point values or those fractional values, those will get discarded. But in case of Python programming language, 20 divided by 3 will return me the accurate result. Let us see what it will return. See, here it is returning 6.666 something. So this is the accurate value. If you want to suppose like your 15 divided by 2, in case of C it will return 7, but in case of Python programming language it is returning mean the accurate value, that is 7.5. If you want that fractional part, then you will go for the simple division in Python programming language. But if you want that fractional part to be discarded, then you will go for the floor division. So that is 15 divide double slash 2, that will give me the 7. So this is the type of floor division. Like 20 divided by 3, this will show me 6.6667. But if I want the floor division, if I want these 666 up to 7, those fractional parts will get discarded, then I will go for the floor division. So I can write 20 double slash 3. See, it is returning me 6. So this is the floor division. Like that, in case of C, if I want to calculate 5 to the power 5, then what can I do? I will either I will go for the multiplication, like I can multiply 5 for 5 times, then I will return some result, that is 5 to the power 5, or I can use power function, and inside the power function I write 5 comma 5. Okay, suppose I want to get the power of 7, suppose I want to get the result of 7 to the power 3, then either I will multiply 7 for 3 times, or I can use the power function, power, and inside the parenthesis I can write 7 comma 3, that is equivalent to 7 to the power 3. But in case of Python programming language, we have a special operator, that is exponent operator, that represents as double star. So if I write 7 into 3, it will return me 21, that is 7 multiplied by 3. But if I write 7 exponent, that means I want to evaluate 7 to the power 3, then I can write 7 double multiplication 3, then it will returning me 343, that is 7 to the power 3. Okay, so in this way we can use our Python ideally as a calculator. So next, let us discuss how we take user input and how we show our result in our output screen. Okay, so for the user input, we have an input function, and always remember that this input function always takes the user input as a string. Like suppose I'm writing here a equals to input enter a number. Okay, see why I'm mentioning here a equals to input, because input function expect a value that is going to entered by the user, and that input function will take that value. Then if I'm taking a user input, that means I want to store that value into some variable. That's why I'm using here a variable. The variable equals to input function. Whatever the value that is going to captured by the input function, that will be assigned to the variable a. See, in the output screen, it is asking me enter a number. Suppose I'm inputting 45. Okay, so what is the value of a? If you are thinking that the value of a is 45, then this is wrong, because input function will get 45 as a string. See, if I'm writing here a, then the output is 45, and that 45 is enclosed within a single quote. If I'm writing the type of a, the type of a is string. Suppose I'm taking another input. Suppose b equals to input. My bad. Enter another value. Okay. Okay, so here it is asking me enter another value. Suppose I am entering 23. So what is b? 23. Suppose I want to add a and b, a plus b. Then if you are thinking a is an integer and b is an integer, because here for a I have entered 45 and for b I have entered 23. So what will actually the value will be? that will be for your 68, but no, that is 45 to 3, because here a plus b means sorry, we are concatenating two strings, that is 45 and 2 3. So while concatenating while merging two strings, we will get the result as 4 5 2 3. But what is the problem? If the input function will get the value as a string type, then we have to typecast that. If I want a float value, then I have to explicitly typecast that string value. If I want an integer value, then I have to mention, or I have to explicitly typecast. So that's for that I can write, okay, let's write a small program where we can take two values, two integer values, and we can add them, then we will show the output in our. So for that, suppose number 1 equals to, I have to mention int, because whatever the value that is going to captured by the input function, that will first typecasted to integer type, then after the typecasting, that integer value will store in number 1. So int, and inside the parenthesis I have to write input function, and for that input function I have to mention a prompt, that is enter your first number. Okay, so I have to close both the parentheses. Next, it is asking me to enter my first number. Suppose my first number is 12. Okay, so let us check what is number 1. So number 1 is 12. The 12 is not enclosed within a single quote. So it is a confirm, it is an integer value. Next, for the number 2, suppose number 2 equals to, like that I have to typecast int, then inside the typecasting I have to write the input and some prompt, that is enter your second number. Okay, so I have to close both the parentheses. Like suppose the second number is 45. So now I have number 1 as 12 and number 2 as 45. So I can write sum equals to number 1 plus number 2. See, so what will be the result? I can print it by using a print function, that is print, and inside the print, whatever the text that is enclosed within the double quote, that will be so as it is. Like the summation is the sum value is, okay, so the output screen will get printed as the sum value is, and here I have to print the summation value that is stored in the variable sum. So like see, we have some access specifiers, but here we don't need any access specifier because we are avoiding that explicit declaration. We did not to declare a variable as integer type. We just only typecasted the value that is captured by the input function. So here we just have to mention only the sum. See, the output is the sum value is 57. So like that we can enter float values and we can typecasted those, and then the float value will get stored in some variables. But if I am writing simply input function like x equals to input enter a float value. Okay. So it's asking me to enter a float value. Suppose I'm writing 12.89. See, so x equals, so what will be the x? The x is 12.89. What is the type of x? Suppose the type of x is what? The type of x is string, because 12.89 is enclosed within a single quote. So we have to typecast that value first, Then after converting those string values into float values, then after we can assign those float values to a variable. So for that I can write x equals to float input enter a float value. Okay. So it's asking me to enter a float value. Suppose that same value 12.89 I'm entering. Then what is x? X is 12.89. So what is the type of x? The type of x is float. So this is all about how we can typecast the string values to integer or float or whatever. So this is all about how we can use our different types of literals, how we can use the Python ideally as a calculator, and how we can use the input and output functions in a Python ideally. Hope you people understand all these things. So do practice all these things. Thank you.